Hi, I'm Caroline Mitchell, Canine Behaviourist at Good Doggy. So today I want to really talk about the benefits of scent training for dogs. We'll maybe have seen the uprising of things like mantrailing and scent training and things like that as a hobby that dogs can participate in. Some dogs take this to a whole new level and actually become search and rescue dogs, or they use this new skill for finding other dogs, finding people, finding things. And that's fantastic, but it's more than just a hobby, and it's also more than just a job. Scent training is really, really important for your dog's mental health. As dogs kind of grow up with us in a human house, they tend to search and do things with their eyes more. We encourage them to look at things. That's how a human sees the world, is through their eyes. They see a vision in front of them, and that's how the world looks to us. But dogs' primary sense is their nose. So effectively they see the world with their nose. So all of the scents swirling around in front of them, that is what they rely on the most, or it's what they should be relying on the most. All of that information is there to tell them where they are, tell them what's happening in their environment, what's recently happened in their environment. There's so much information swirling around in that, but we spend quite a lot of time actually as pet owners discouraging them from really using all that information, using their nose as much as they should be. So a good example might be a dog that's out for a walk and suddenly they pull on their lead because a scent has come in front of them. You know, their world is not like ours. It's not a static vision. Their scents and things swirl around a lot, you know, they can linger. So maybe the dog's walking along and they just suddenly walk into a scent, and that scent is the smell of an animal that passed by 10 minutes ago. Of course, that's going to get their interest. It would be the same as a hologram just suddenly appearing in front of you. You would want to know more about that. You would want to know where it came from, what is it, where did it go? And that's basically how your dog kind of lives. But we spend a lot of time training them to ignore all that stuff and just to focus on what we want them to focus on. So they become very orientated with their eyes, and that's not a great sense. It's also not really about being a dog. So content dogs really need to sniff, and they really need to find things and use their nose to be a dog, to follow scent trails, to learn about their environment more rather than just kind of looking with their eyes. They're really getting all of the information that they're designed for. I mean, they've got these great big huge noses. They're designed to suck up their environment through that nose and interpret it through it. So when we discourage that, then that's not always great for their general overall behaviour. So in fact, what we're doing is creating a problem when we're trying to solve one problem and get them to pay attention and walk to heel and keep their nose up and all this kind of stuff. That's great, but what we've done now is we've created another problem, and that is that your dog is not being a dog. He's not doing doggy things, and that will affect his overall confidence and resilience and mental health and everything else. And then you might start to see some behaviour problems creeping in. So I'm going to talk about 3 different kinds of behaviour problems that will really be helped by doing scent training with your dog, by getting your dog to do this really, really deep sniffs, searching sniffs, activating the whole nose, the whole brain part that's dedicated to smell and interpretation of smell. We want to really activate that, and that is really exhausting for dogs. So once they've done this scent training, then they can go and feel really content. It really brings a sense of contentment to them. And if you've got a very busy dog or whatever, then this is going to be great for them. But I'm going to talk us through 3 different case studies. So the first one is Lola, the unemployed workaholic. So Lola needs a job. She doesn't switch off physically and emotionally. She needs some kind of purpose in her life. She needs something to do. We all have our circadian rhythm, and the circadian rhythm is the bit of our body that tells us what we should be doing and at what time. It's the bit that tells us when it's time to wake up. It's the bit that tells us when to go to sleep, when to eat, and more internally, it tells our body when to digest our food, when to do eliminations, when to process stuff. All of those internal and external rhythms are controlled by our circadian rhythm. And our circadian rhythm tells us that we should be doing work. We have to work in order to get food, and that's really, really important. And some dogs, this is more important to others. So Lola, it's very important to her. So she's getting up in the morning and she's ready to go for a hunt. She wants to do her job. Once she's done that, it will trigger a set of steps. So When we wake up, our body's telling us go hunt. And then once we've hunted, then we have food. So then we eat. And then once we've eaten, then we stop. And that's when we digest our food and the internal processes all start to do their own thing. When we mess that up and we get into a weird pattern, or we skip a step, then that's when we start to cause problems. And it can put us into a perpetual cycle of adrenaline and not being able to switch that off and then not resting. So this is basically what Lola's like. She is busy all the time. She's looking for something to do. She is constantly looking to be entertained. She might be attention seeking quite a lot. She might be bringing toys. She might be stealing stuff, any of that kind of stuff. Her family have tried to help. So they've tried to introduce some enrichment ideas. They've introduced a slow feeder bowl. Check out a different video I've made about these, but I don't like slow feeders for feeding. It's great for a little game to play in the afternoon, a little snack. But when we know that we need to eat, we need to hunt, we need to eat, then we need to sleep. We know that the eating part is supposed to be restful. It's not supposed to be hunting as well. We don't hunt and eat at the same time. And this problem that these slow feeder bowls create is they put us back into hunting mode while we're trying to eat. And that's just going to cause all kinds of problems. So when you're racing around the town trying to eat and do jobs and go here and go there at the same time, your body's not ready to digest that food, and that causes things like indigestion and mood swings and all this kind of stuff. So we need to get rid of all of that kind of stuff, and we just need to focus on fulfilling this ritual. So scent training and teaching a dog to search for their own food is really, really good for setting this process in motion. And the best time to do it is in the morning. So for Lola, what we want her to do is we want her to go through this process. So she does the hunting part. That triggers all of that adrenaline. Adrenaline is flowing. She's ready for whatever her job might bring her. And she's searching for food. Big, deep sniffs is really good because it's activating and satisfying that part of her brain. She's searching for the food. Then she finds her food. She sits there and eats it, and that forces her body to go into the rest and digest mode. So this is the opposite of fight and flight. Fight and flight is what she needs to be a good hunter. Rest and digest is what she needs to do when she has her food. So teaching a dog that is very, very busy and needs a job to do, a dog like Lola, to search for anything at all, her food treats, her toys, another person, and ending that with a really lovely big treat or a breakfast or whatever it is, will force her into that rest cycle. And that is what she needs to stop being busy all day. She can tick that box. She says, I went to work, I did my thing, and everything worked out fine, and now I'm just going to chill out for the rest of the day. So Yogi, all play and no rest. Yogi wants to play all day long. Yogi is mouthing. Yogi is jumping up at people. Yogi is barking a lot. He likes to shred things. He likes to steal things. But this is not a boredom problem for Yogi. Again, enrichment games have made things worse for him. They've also been introducing more exercise because they believe that Yogi's bored and that what Yogi needs is to just to drain all of that energy. But the energy that he has is not physical energy, it's mental energy. So we could walk him all day long, but his brain is just buzzing and fizzing all the time. And that's what's coming out in this kind of naughty type of behavior that we're seeing. So what Yogi doesn't need is things like games that make him excitable. We don't want to keep him busy. We don't want to keep him going. We need to help him learn how to settle. And again, scent training is going to be really good for him. Scent training is great for this naughty brain that's just got too much energy in it. 10 minutes of sniffing, proper, good, deep, searching sniffs is the equivalent of a walk, but for his brain. And that's what we really need. We need him to be really tired in his brain so that he can be content and just settle. So for Yogi, this is all about tiring out a very busy and very energetic brain. He just needs to learn how to lie down and be at peace with himself. Finally, we've got Toto. Toto is living on the edge. Toto is reactive. Toto guards things. Toto is not settling either, pacing around, taking things and looking for that kind of mischief all the time. Toto is looking for an adrenaline rush all the time. She's addicted to it. So she's barking at stuff. She's causing arguments everywhere. When she's in this reactive state, she's always ready for something to happen. So any kind of noise that might trigger a person walking past the house, maybe on a walk, somebody suddenly surprises them from behind, always creates this really big and dramatic reaction. So for her, we need to switch this readiness off. So she's not dissimilar to Lola at the start. We need to get her again through the cycle so that she can turn that adrenaline off. Once she's turned that adrenaline off, then you can work on keeping it off. So she's constantly in a state of fight or flight. Adrenaline is driving her. And once we've managed to get her through this and she's got to the point where she's done her eat and rest, then she will start to relax more and become much less reactive, and that guarding behavior will be gone as well. Any dog that eats as well while they're in this kind of adrenaline fueled state will naturally guard their food. So it won't take very much if a person just walks into the room, just like any other kind of surprise, a noise or a person showing up. When you're in the middle of eating your food, you're going to react as if they've come to take it. When you're in fight or flight mode, that's all you do. You protect the stuff you've got, and yourself, and it doesn't matter whether the situation required it or not. The person that just walked into the kitchen might have just been going to the fridge to get a drink of water, but it doesn't matter, because while they're in that reactive adrenaline filled state, they will react to anything as if it's a threat. That's the point of that particular mode. But if you can't switch that off, then that behavior just keeps on going. So again, scent training is really going to help this dog, because it's helping them get into that rest and digest mode, which they're not able to get into. They've got into the cycle and they got trapped, and we need to get them out of that. So we can see there are tons and tons of benefits to this. Teaching our dog to use their nose rather than their eyes is a brilliant activity. It gets them back that dogginess that they've been missing when we kind of rely on their eyes to help them through their day. This is also a really good activity to do together. So it's a fun thing to teach your dog how to do scent training and to find things and, use that nose for good things. But it's really bonding. People that work with their dogs like this will tell you that it really does bring together, and that is really good for resilience. When a dog has a strong bond with a human, they are far more resilient to everything. So regardless of what the actual scent training itself will do, the act of teaching it and doing it with them will benefit all three of those dogs that I just talked about. And we know that when hunting ends in food, it naturally forces the body to switch off and go into that rest and digest mode. So anytime you're working with a dog and you feel like they're trapped in a kind of adrenaline fight or flight state, get them away from that situation and get them searching for things. All those big, deep sniffs are really good for de-escalating anxiety too. So when you're working with a dog that is reactive or anxious, getting them to sniff those big, lovely sniffs is calming on their brain. It's good for them to have that because they're preparing for the rest mode. It's the same as us doing really big, deep breaths. It's the dog's version of that. And if we can get them to do that for a good 10 minutes, it's so calming and it's so lovely to see that contentment at the end. The other thing about scent training is that any dog can do it. They might not all do it to a really high level, but if you can just get them to search for a couple of treats around the garden, then that's it. You've ticked the box. They're searching for things and they will really enjoy it, and you'll enjoy watching them succeed at it too. And it's just brilliant. So I recommend scent training to anybody. If you can't find scent training, it might be called mantrailing in your area. So go and find a club and get on that and get booked in and have a go at it, because honestly, it is a game changer for nearly all dogs. Even dogs that don't have problems will benefit from it, and you will too, because it's so fun to watch dogs succeed at this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care for now. Bye-bye.